This is an It Came From Gen X video.
Let's see here. Let's start off with first of all, if you made me think about the things of over the past year in pop culture, pop culture moments. We talked about some big news stories and music stories and sports stories and all that. So, yeah, I looked up just top things of pop culture this year. So maybe kind of reflect a little bit here. So, I'm just going to name kind of a few stories at random that made a lot of pop culture news over the past year. Will Smith Oscar, the slap, Chris Rock,
yeah.
the slap heard around the world.
Yeah.
I remember watching that live. Will Smith is still, everybody has since apologized. It really hasn't been completely, there hasn't been a whole healing type moment just yet. Will Smith's career certainly has been impacted. He's in that big movie Emancipation, which is critically acclaimed. I think it's on Apple Plus, but it's I think he's still got some work to do to get back out into the good graces of Hollywood. And
I think it's going to be time. I think just as time goes on, we seem to get more forgetful. Those initial feelings cool off, and people are more forgetful. I think that's what he has to do. Just wait it out.
Absolutely. Skinner, any other thoughts on the slap?
No, you're absolutely right. I think time will heal wounds. We'll see. I'm interested in seeing that movie. There's been a lot of times I've wanted to, shortly after that happened, I want to watch Hitch. Oh, wait a minute. I'm pissed off at Will Smith for what he did, so I'm not going to watch it. Or I want to see Hancock. Oh, wait a minute. Will Smith's on that too. And I'm going to be truthful. I felt that way at the very first time.
It was hard not to. Thank you for being honest. Yeah.
I hate that I felt that way, but I was pretty angry at him for, whatever his intentions were, whether good, bad, or indifferent. It was the wrong thing at the right time to do. And, he's taken a hit for it, rightfully so. And I hope that feeling that I had 6 or 8 months ago goes away, because I've enjoyed his career. I've enjoyed growing up with Will Smith on the big screen and even on the small screen, watching him at on the television shows that he's on. So, but yeah, no, that's, I don't know how else to say.
I commented on his forgiveness, but in regards to the slap itself, I'm just very annoyed at the people who have found all the reasons to excuse what he did. I can't stand this mentality in our country nowadays. Nobody has any self-control. No matter what the problem is, it's not cause for you to act that way. I watched some videos the other day, people tearing up a Waffle House, throwing chairs at the cooks. One girl jumped on the counter and threw a glass at one of them. We got to get some control in this country, man. I don't care what the problem is. It's about how you handle yourself. We have to learn to talk to one another when we have a problem or dispute. What Will Smith did, I don't want to hear about what he protected. I don't want to hear that crap. If my wife was in danger, I'd do anything to protect her. But she was not in any physical danger, and he could have handled that after the show with some words to Chris Rock and let his wife know he wasn't taking that crap or whatever. What you did on national television was shameful, and it really said horrible things for you as a person, in the minds of other people about black people. It was just all bad, man. It wasn't necessary, and it just really ticks me off that people make excuses for what he did.
I agree. It was one of the most shocking things on the live television I ever saw, and you're ever going to see again, probably.
Yeah, without question. The Oscars. I mean, not the Source Awards. The Oscar. This wasn't Suge Knight and with somebody. This is Will Smith. So yeah.
I mean, I will say, whether his people got a hold of him or he came to his senses. I mean, he did come back and own it and say he had no right to do it. He lost control. He did not try to continue to justify the joke against his wife and all that. He said basically, I didn't like it. It was I didn't like the joke, but at the same token, it did not deserve that action.
No, it wasn't in poor taste. It wasn't mean. It wasn't crude. And she looked like somebody else who had shaved their head off. He wasn't making fun of your disease or whatever. And you know, if anybody punches anybody, can somebody walk up on the stage and punch one of the women on The View? Can we get that? That'd be great.
That was a huge story, obviously. Pete Davidson made a lot of pop culture news in 2022. Certainly, his relationship with Kim Kardashian. You got to mention the Kardashians getting out of the, you know, a lot of bad luck seems to happen. Just a huge social media fight with Ye. And Ye took a lot of flack for that. I think rightfully so. Now Pete Davidson has moved on. They've broken up, and he seems to be doing just fine with the people that he's dating. Seems like he's having a good time and everything else. But they made a lot of news over the past year with that whole relationship. Number one, and number two, the online feud with Ye. So I think probably Pete Davidson's in a happier spot overall with just moving on and getting past all that. So any thoughts on that whole ridiculous fight with Pete Davidson and Ye?
I was on his side for a hot minute. I thought it was funny for a minute, but he crossed the line in my opinion. You know, mentioning the kids and stuff like that and the sex and then putting it out on social media. I thought he crossed the line with that. Some of it was funny at first, you know what I mean?
Yep.
You know, hey, I'm laying here with Kim, you know, stuff like that. But he crossed the line in my opinion. So,
Skinner, any thoughts on that?
I don't have no opinion. Truthfully, I don't know really much about the story. Just
you ain't missing nothing, bro.
Yeah. Famous people fighting on social media, blah blah blah. Anyway, all right.
Not my thing.
Yeah. Elon Musk certainly made a lot of news over the past year. He, was going to buy Twitter. Then he wasn't going to buy Twitter. He tried to get out of the deal. Of course, he wound up buying Twitter, and it still continues to fired a bunch of executives. And it's just a whole seems to be a very chaotic time for Twitter right now. But it still exists, and he's, it's a whole thing with Twitter. So he's gotten rid of people who's regulating it. So there's been a lot of people that's famous folks who has moved on from Twitter. You don't like the direction it's going. I don't know. So we'll see. So it continues to, I don't think it's going to get shut down personally. I think it's too popular in the way it's set up. It gives too many opportunities for the average person just to go out there and voice your opinion and to see what others are saying out there. But we'll see. It could certainly be very dangerous if it's not regulated at all. But yet I have not heard really any noise as far as people that they've brought back in or otherwise that's really creating a lot of problems. So I don't know. So we'll see. He put a poll out there recently that, should I step down as CEO? And the fans voted he should. But I don't know that he has. So I don't know. Just to be very odd dude. And again, very interesting, chaotic leadership. So we'll kind of continue to keep an eye on this story into the new year here. So any thoughts on Elon Musk with Twitter, or you don't really care? Keith?
You hit it on the last one. I never do Twitter. I'm not, like I like to say, I'm not a twit. I've never used it. And I could care less. I think Twitter is stupid. We allow Facebook to be invasive enough. But to let somebody know the daily minutia of your lives, I think it's ridiculous. I think it's a way for musicians to compensate for money that they lose on album sales. Letting fans get in their business like that, and that generates money in different ways. And I think it's a way for athletes to be popular on the level of musicians and actors. But I think it's utterly ridiculous. So that's just my opinion.
Yep. Skinner, any thoughts, or you don't care?
I don't care, but Elon Musk, I love the guy. I love his brilliance, I guess is the best way to put it. Don't necessarily agree with all his moves, good, bad, or indifferent. You can say that with a lot of people, like Mark Cuban. I have much respect for Mark Cuban, Dallas Mavericks owner. I think it's Time Warner is who he got his money from. They don't affect me personally, but I can respect them on a level of a human being, and
Yeah.
I do have that for Elon Musk, but I don't always necessarily agree with everything he does. I'm a Twitter guy. I think I catch myself on Twitter more than I am on Facebook anymore.
Mhm.
And where else do you have a direct line to a famous athlete or a famous
Mhm.
musician or famous actor or politician? Because everybody has a Twitter handle except for Keith
Mhm.
Porter.
Exactly.
Whether the athlete, the musician, the artist, the
I
the
actually think I have
politician
one. I just don't use it.
responds back or not, it's a different story. But at least people feel like they have the opportunity to get their voice heard to whoever it is that they're trying to get to. So I
Hey
think
guys,
Twitter's good. I hope they figure it out. I would hate to see it go away, but we'll see.
hey guys, just want to interject here. I was going to bring this up at the end of the show. I did not know it had gotten this bad. Obviously, we knew that a player was hurt in tonight's Cincinnati Buffalo Bills game. We knew it was serious. We knew that the stretcher had come out. We knew that the ambulance had come out. Apparently, it has gotten seriously worse to the point that they stopped the game. They postponed the game. Players are crying. Bill safety Damar Hamlin. He is in the hospital fighting for his life right now in critical condition. So can we just take a few seconds and just say a prayer for Damar Hamlin and all those involved? All right. Thanks a
Absolutely.
lot, guys. Thank you.
Sure thing. Sure thing. Okay, another story that showed the power of social media, maybe in a negative way, not even maybe, probably in a negative way. The Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard
Glad you
case.
brought that up. I was going to
Oh,
bring that up. Yeah.
jeez.
I know we talked about this on the back in the summer. So Johnny Depp sued his ex Amber Heard for defamation of character, claiming that the stuff that she was saying, she didn't mention his name directly, but stuff she put out there in the news hurt his career and stopped him from getting some big roles. He wound up winning in court, but the whole media circus was just absolutely nuts, with the
It
general
was.
public showing up in the Virginia court to observe, and then it was all over social media. You had people watching this, watching the court, watching the sessions on television and
Everything.
really
Yeah.
breaking it down to facial expressions and everything else.
Yes.
It was really probably one of the, I don't want to say it was certainly not as big as like some of the huge court cases have been on television. It's not at the same level, but as
Right.
far as the scrutiny on social media and everything else, it really was quite the big deal over the summer here. So just crazy, ridiculous. So, Keith, any reflection on the
Yeah,
Depp versus Heard case?
usually all the celebrity hooey and stuff, I just totally ignore. I'm like Skinner. Yeah, a bunch of millionaires who their little problems, whatever. I usually think this is silly. I don't pay attention to it, but this was like must see TV. I enjoyed this because it was absolutely hysterical. Because some of the things they were saying was absolutely true. Amber Heard, I thought, put on one of the great performances of her career. She was about as phony as all get out, the fake tears. There was one thing they thought she was doing drugs in court. It looked like she was. It was just hysterical. She was under such scrutiny, and she looked so bad with the baggy eyes and oh my gosh. But every move she made, man, it was on high def 1080p camera, and somebody had a great story to make of it. Johnny Depp, he reminded me of Robert Downey Jr. in the second Iron Man when he was in that deposition. He just had a fun time making jokes, and he acted like he wasn't worried about anything. It was actually entertaining. It was entertainment is what it was. As silly as, like you said, the charges were, this wasn't, some of the more serious things we've seen, like a murder trial and things like that. It was he said, she said, or whatever. And, Johnny Depp, not only did he win against her, but I believe he ended up, he's going to make a big signing with the next Pirates of the Caribbean, they're going to re-sign him. That's what I heard. I don't know. I saw it on the internet, but must be true. But yeah, this was really entertainment. It was very silly, and I actually got a kick out of it for a while.
Skinner, any reflections on that?
No, that's another one that I could give two craps about. Miss Marcy was paid attention to it a little bit, so everything I know about that come from her. It's just two spoiled, rich Hollywood jerks, in my opinion, spoiling their dirty laundry for everybody wants to listen.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how I look at it.
Okay. And just kind of ties to our generation here. 80s nostalgia continues to be very popular, very huge. Stranger Things is set in the 80s on Netflix, continues to be a very popular show, in part because of all the 80s references. There's certainly 80s references of all kinds of different shows and movies, and you see some of the fashion coming back here. So obviously for us, I don't know. I think it's cool. We had a great generation in the 80s growing up with the games and the just everything we had going on here. And I think it's kind of neat to see that people, younger folks, are appreciating that and letting it live on in pop culture and social media. So any thought, guys, as far as just the general 80s nostalgia that we're in? And I don't really see it going away anytime soon. I think it's going to be continue to be very popular over the next few years yet. So Keith, any thoughts on 80s nostalgia?
I think even some young people are recognizing the age of garbage music that we are in. And some of the categories that we grew up on, the hard rock, heavy metal, I can't think of anything new that I've heard, but like, wow, like the old days when we couldn't wait for this album or that album to come out, and it just blew our minds. In every genre, I'm not what you call your biggest rap guy. I see this stuff come out and I'm like, what is this junk? These pop songs. Who was that BT ever? The little Asian boys, all like a bunch of little girls with all that syrupy music. I mean, it's just pure garbage. The pop world has gotten ridiculous. And it seems to be owned by the same few people, Taylor Swift and blah, 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 the same names. So I think it's great that the 80s is starting to spring up. I noticed my son is starting to learn about stuff. And he said, hey, I listened to this song, I listened to that song, it was great. And I hope it continues to grow, and I think that it will.
Yeah. Skinner, any thought on 80s nostalgia?
I always say I should have been growing up in the 30s and 40s because I'm absolutely fascinated with that era. But I am very, very, very thankful that I grew up in the 80s. It is, to me, the best decade in the last 100. Us as kids, with what we had, with what we were able to witness and experience, I only wish that our kids today could have experienced the same thing, to be truthful. And I agree with you. You say it's not going to go anyway anytime soon. I hope it doesn't for our kids, especially our adult kids' sake. I hope they get to experience some of the stuff that we got to experience when we were kids. We can talk about it till we're blue in the face, but until you actually experience it, you don't get the same feel. So I hope it sticks around. I hope Hollywood stays with the 80s theme for a while. A lot of shows, a lot of shows. There's a show that we talked about earlier in the year. It's in the 80s. It's Red. I'll have to look it up and maybe in a future show I'll bring it up again. But the show takes place in the 80s, and it's a great area to revisit, and I hope they continue to do that.
You know what would be a fun idea, guys? I'm sorry, Fish.
Go ahead.
If we spent time, like a month or so, and making a list of some of the greatest things that we did in the 80s that shaped us as kids, and give that list out and say, you know what, young people, if you really want to experience something, do this on this list. I mean, everything from cow tipping if you can to TPing, go TPing. All the things that we did now that, most of our kids are shut up in the house now or in front of a screen or whatever, or in virtual reality, all those things that just help make us who we were as a kid, and say, you know what, if you really want to enjoy life, go out and do everything that's on this list. I think that would be a really cool idea.
That's a great idea. Let's definitely do that in this next month here. I like that idea a lot. I think it just the last thought with that is I think people appreciate in many respects, the simplicity, and you see a lot of new things, like even video games. A lot of new video games are coming back with the look of the 8-bit games that are just these simple games with that cool look and the retro music and everything else. So long live the 80s. That's right. Looking back on just the top movies of 2022, even some of those have some nostalgia. Top movie in 2022, Maverick, Top Gun Maverick. So the sequel to Maverick.
I watched it.
$1.5 billion. So what you guys, I know it's on streaming right now. You can rent it. I still have not seen it. I plan to watch it. Keith, I saw some comments. Go ahead.
I say it's on Paramount Plus. Me and Marcy came to bed early one night. It was like Wednesday or Thursday last week, and we sat and watched it. Fantastic movie, to be truthful. Wasn't a huge fan of the first one. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't ooh and ah. There was a lot of dumb things that happened in that first one, like guys in pants and no shirts playing beach volleyball. That sticks out of my mind.
I hate that scene.
But this second movie, what the aerial footage was absolutely spectacular. I like the story. They brought back Goose from the first one, his memory in it. I don't want to do any spoilers if you haven't seen it, but it's definitely a movie that everybody should see, especially if you've seen the first one.
All right.
Yeah.
Keith, you just saw it. What did you think about Maverick?
I thought it was kind of corny. Not as corny as the first one, which I think was the silliest movie I ever saw. I thought the aerial footage was outstanding. I liked the story a little bit better. It wasn't so I saw that coming, even though it kind of was. The first one was just like, oh yeah, as soon as they graduate, they're going to be sent on a mission. It was just like, oh, I can't stand the first one. I don't understand the popularity of that first one. I feel the need for speed. Stop it. It was so macho and so, oh gosh,
it was so
really
80s.
like that. Yeah, it was just come on, man. There's more to us than that. This macho crap. I'm Maverick. I'm Iceman. Gosh, that sounds like the Avengers, man. Come on. But anyway, it was enjoyable. I did enjoy it. So
okay, I will definitely check it out.
And I
don't know if you guys know about Val
here.
Kilmer had a cameo in it, and that poor guy he's suffering from throat cancer. He's his time is limited
and
on
he
Earth.
lived it out in the movie.
Yeah, he did. So I was glad to see him, even though it was a short part. I was glad to see him in the movie.
Very good. Yes. Superhero movies continue to be very popular. I'm not going to ask for any comments on all these here, but just to kind of give you the top 10 domestic, worldwide, not domestic, worldwide movies. Again, Top Gun Maverick, like I said, was about $1.5 billion. Avatar already, The Way of the Water, which was just released, is already at $1.4 billion. So
that's amazing.
Avatar would have easily surpassed Top Gun if it was released earlier in the year. Certainly, it's going to continue to make a killing. Jurassic World Dominion, $1 billion. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was the top superhero movie at $955,000. And it's just these Minions movies. I don't get these Minions
what
movies.
What about Black Panther?
Black Panther was number 6 behind Minions. Minions: The Rise of Gru was $939,000.
What?
That $939 million. I said thousand. $939 million.
Yeah.
Isn't it just? It's bewildering to me. Black Panther was $820 million. Number 7, The Batman, about 771 million. Thor: Love and Thunder was number 8 at 760 million. Watergate Bridge, number 9, 626 million. Moon Man, I think this is more of a foreign film, 460 million. That rounds up your top 10 worldwide. So superhero movies and fantasy movies still very prevalent in the box office.
Big one coming right around the corner here in a couple weeks. I think the Ant-Man movie is going to take it to another level.
That's
we're going to be introduced to Kang the Conqueror. We got a little bit of him in the Loki series. So I think this movie is going to take it to another level.
Yes, absolutely. I think a superhero movie is definitely going to make another killing this coming year. A lot of exciting content coming up here. And so to kind of continue the theme of reflecting in 2022, definitely had some notable folks in the world of pop culture and news and otherwise that passed away in 2022. Certainly not going to name all of them. We did have Pope Benedict the 6th just passed away. I think it was this past weekend, 95 years of age. Huge death in the world of news. Barbara Walters just passed away at age 93. Certainly, arguably one who has paved the way to many women in the news field. So I saw a nice tribute from Oprah Winfrey, basically saying without Barbara Walters, there would not be her and a lot of other women on TV.
I was actually
news.
mentioned that. I was going to say more than just a news person. She was like, to me, the first powerful woman.
Yes.
Before Oprah.
Yes.
Oprah followed in her steps of that, but she was a woman of great power and respect, man.
Yeah, if you got interviewed by Barbara Walters for many years, somebody. That's right. Now Oprah certainly picked up that torch there, but that was a very big deal to be interviewed by Barbara Walters, and she was definitely known for her.
Or you were in trouble.
Skills. That's true too. That's true too.
We used to say, you wake up and Carl Mundy's at your front door here in Northeast Ohio, you better run.
Right.
Local joke, people. And certainly, she went on the View for later part of her life with so she kind of wrapped things up and retired from that show. Pele passed away recently. One of the most famous and talented soccer players that ever lived. I know for me personally, for many, many, many years, he was the only soccer player that I knew the name of.
I was going to say that. He was soccer, yeah.
He was soccer, in part because Atari had the Pele soccer cartridge. It was always Pele soccer, Pele this, Pele that. And I'm like, well, this guy must be pretty good. He was the only name I knew for many years. But this guy was, he was only 17 when he made his first World Cup appearance back in 1958, scored 3 goals in the World Cup. Pretty amazing.
Oh, wow.
And he was for a Brazilian soccer player. I'm sure over there he was just next to holiness in Brazil.
Oh, yeah. His money was no good over there, probably.
I would imagine so. Yeah, absolutely. We had other folks as well. I mean, you talked about Franco Harris last week, Keith.
The great Franco.
We talked about Kirstie Alley already. Bob Saget, famous comedian, passed away this past year.
You're missing a huge name.
Who am I missing?
We lost Queen Elizabeth.
Oh yeah, absolutely, Queen Elizabeth. That's right.
Huge.
Yep. A lot of these folks who recognize, we tend to pause for a few moments on every episode to recognize some folks who passed away. We talked about Gallagher. We talked about Kevin Conroy, voiced Batman.
Oh gosh,
for many years. Jerry Lee Lewis, passed away recently. Just a lot of names. I'm not going to go through all these here, but those are some of the more prevalent ones over the past year. So, any folks that passed away that you wish to remember one more time here, guys, that come to mind from the past year? If not, it's okay. Go ahead.
Well, I don't want to be superficial. Certainly, there are some people who, if you were ranking in level of importance to the world, would be up there. But Kevin Conroy meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just, like I said, you just strike gold. Robert Downey Jr. playing Iron Man, but Kevin Conroy becoming the voice of Batman. I mean, that voice and seeing Batman were just synonymous to me.
Yeah.
Over the years, I caught up one or maybe two Batman movies that came out that weren't related to the same people, and it was a different voice, and I could barely watch it. He
Yeah.
just meant a lot to me. What he brought to that character, the mindset of the Dark Knight. If you don't know it, it's something that everybody can aspire to be. His level of concentration, his level of commitment, and he brought that voice to match that. Even in simple cartoons, man. It was
Mhm.
something to behold. So that one really bothered me, and the Queen kind of shook me up because I thought there was going to be some major repercussions happen because of that. But when I thought about it, I say, at her age, I really wonder how much power the Queen actually had. Or was she more of a figurehead and others were running the show? And if that's the case, that's probably why the transition to power was very, very smooth to begin with. So, but
Mhm.
just think of Kevin Conroy. That one really hit.
Skinner, come to mind in particular for you that passed away over the past year?
No one in particular, just the Gen X spin on it. Those that we grew up, learning to love. I guess the best way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Saget, Olivia Newton-John. I try. I know I'm missing a bunch of them, but those two come to mind. They
Yeah.
were there when we were growing up, and now that they're
Mhm.
gone, it kind of gives me reflection on, holy cow, I just turned 51 this past year.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me just sit back and reflect, and I've done it for a long time, but remember, when I wake up every day, I'm thankful, one, for waking up, and two, I'm going to make the best of the day, because there's less of those days left than they are what I've had in the past. So
Amen.
if that makes
Yep.
sense.
No, it does.
Absolutely.
Yeah, plenty more we could name. I'll add one more here. I know we honored him over the summer when he passed away here, but in the world of sports, next to obviously Kobe was taken out quickly and tragically, but this gentleman passed on from just old age and normal. But Bill Russell passed away, so one of the most
Yeah.
iconic sports players, period, that ever lived and ever will live. Just won tons of championships with the Boston Celtics. One of the very few, if not the only guy I could think of who was a player coach that won more than one championship
Yeah.
for the
Outstanding.
Boston
Buttload.
Celtics. All the while dealing with some really horrible racism in the late '60s and early '70s. He was an advocate. He kind of made a name for himself with him and uh, uh, Cassius Clay, who became Muhammad Ali, uh, um, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They definitely stood up and spoke out. But I don't know, just an amazing person,
Yes, he
amazing athlete
was.
that we lost over the past year. And then the NBA players, all of them this year, if you've noticed, are wearing a black number 6 on their jersey to honor
Mm-hmm.
the great Bill Russell this particular season. So
Yeah. And
anyway,
another
go
Gen
ahead,
X
please.
one too. Just somebody Skinner was talking about from our childhood, man. We can't forget Irene Cara. Flashdance was a
Yep.
huge part of our
Yep.
teenage years
Mm-hmm.
growing up too. And just recently, tragically speaking, um, just this depth of this Twitch, I wasn't a
Yes.
fan or anything, but it just
Mm-hmm.
put a spotlight on suicide that needs to be addressed. And
Mm-hmm.
people, get some help. Reach out, get some help. Get some help.
Yes, absolutely. So again, we could spend a lot more time honoring those who passed on over the past year. So um, I think we covered that a lot here. Guys, we talked. Since this is a show of reflecting on the past year, but why don't we just keep it there? We prepared some current topics for pop culture and otherwise, but we'll table those for now and talk more about those, next week, and we'll keep this more of a reflection. How about, is there anything that you're looking forward to before we wrap up? Anything in particular you're looking forward to in the new year?
Kind
Whether
of
it
took the
be,
words out of my mouth. I was about to ask the
yeah,
same question.
there you go. Whether it be movies or TV shows or sporting or just life stuff, anything you're looking forward to, Keith, in particular?
Well, uh, for those of you who don't know, I'm a pastor of a church here in Akron, and my message yesterday was "New Year or a New You." I see so many people on Facebook every December. Screw this year. I can't wait for next year. So many bad things happen. Screw! I can't wait for this year to be over. And I'm like, what makes you think because the calendar is going to turn that bad things can't happen to you in the next year?
Yes.
It's got nothing to do with the year. Also, if you're taking you into that next year, some of the stuff was because of you. You know what I'm saying? So it's not the year that needs to change; it's we that need to change. And so I'm looking forward to making some changes or some improvements. I'm looking forward to getting total control of my health in 2023. I'm very, very excited about that. I don't want to say over it, but I'm looking forward to the next chapter in my life after losing my mother. I know that I have to move forward. I know that's what she would want. And it's kind of exciting to think about some of the different things. I've just kind of settled with things being that she had it. And, because you don't think about making any changes, but it's time to do that. So I'm just excited. I said today in our prayer meeting that I plan on finding the next Mrs. Porter this year. So, excited about that. And that'd be it for me. I'll be happy. Get closer to God, and I'm happy. And I want to help as many people as possible. We are dedicated to feeding the homeless, passing out clothes. We got a stack of stuff in my house right now. We'll be going out Saturday, passing out hats and gloves. I want to do more and more and more and more and more and more, and hope others catch on.
Very good. Why don't we just kind of keep it there then? So, Skinner, any personal reflections or goals you wish to share for the new
I wanted
year?
to piggyback Porter and say Albert Einstein's definition of insanity. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
Yep.
So, like he said, if you went into 2022 complaining or 2023 complaining about 22 and you didn't make a change, 23 is not going to be any different. So, with that being said, we kind of talked about it before Keith came on. The new purchase of the camper that we had, and I'll talk to you, Keith, off air a little bit more about it. Just spending time with the family and spending time with friends and utilizing this wonderful travel companion is what I'm going to call it. The Skinner Farson household purchased a camper that we can house and sleep 10 people on a trip somewhere. So we want to take full advantage of that. Take my friends, take my brothers and their significant others, and just take off for a long weekend. So I'm looking forward to that in 2023. I'm looking forward to my grandkids getting another year older. The babies, seeing them grow up. My two little granddaughters that are 1 year old and 7 weeks old. I get to spend another year with them. So
it's great.
Utilize with family, utilize friends. I can't expect or want to do anything less than to enjoy time with you.
I hope we do more stuff together this year too.
Yeah, very good stuff. Well, first of all, I hope again to wake up on my birthday next to Marcy again. That would be nice.
Yes.
In 2023.
Oh yeah, I woke up next to Marcy on my birthday too. I wanted to mention that.
No, but I mean, it's always the traditional, like to get better shape. Yeah, but that I was in better shape a couple years ago before COVID. I felt a lot better, so that is definitely something I want to really try to focus more on this year myself. I tried to do it more last year. I think I did, but not enough, and that is say yes more. And by that I mean yes more to somebody asks you to do something and hang out, and find more reasons to say yes than no. And I
That's what
failed
I
there
used to shoot.
sometimes.
Yeah.
But I need to do that more, because again, whatever you're doing, now obviously you can't make every single thing okay. I mean, you got to be realistic and all that. But if what you're doing is something that can wait, and it's not something you're going to remember in the next week, even like you stayed home because you were really into cleaning the house, or you're really into watching a stupid football, whatever the hell it was, you missed out on some quality time with friends. You got to rethink your priorities, perhaps. So that's definitely something I want to try to do better at the coming year. That includes family as well, of course. I got some career aspirations I'm going to focus on as well, whether it be the current place or maybe others. I'm not sure. So I definitely have some thoughts there, that things I want to do differently, things I want to change there to allow myself to do other things in life and so on. And just excited. I'm very happy to still be with Ali, and we're doing,
That's great.
and,
I'm so happy.
yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for, again, beautiful daughter Peyton and Joey taking the next step in their lives with their new place. All that's very exciting. So looking forward to spending some time over there and seeing these two kids happy and, growing and all that. So, yeah, so just a couple things at top of mind for the new year. So, and obviously doing this
great.
with you guys.
Yeah.
I know you talked about it earlier. I think we'll all say the same thing, but it's definitely great that we stay connected this way. It's still fun. It's still a great creative outlet with you guys, and also Dean and Nick. So it's a crazy hobby. It takes up a lot of time, but again, we tend to focus more on the positives with it, not just what time it takes to do it, and more so that we stay connected and caught up with each other.
Yeah, and I'll say this, Fish. It's exciting because every year something else happens.
True.
Who knows what'll happen this year? Who knows where the show will go?
That's right.
Know? So
well, no, unless we keep doing it, right? So it's the fact that a lot of people do something like this and they quit because it's just hard to do. It's like I told Dean and Nick, to do anything every single week. I don't care what it is. To do anything every single solitary week where you're connecting with people is not easy to do. It's something you have to make it a priority and make it a habit. And we have done that for now several years on this show and the other one too. So look forward to more fun times. And like you say, if you stop doing it, you might miss an opportunity that you didn't know was going to present itself to you. So
exactly.
Onward and upward with all that as well, guys. Fate, I believe, guys, is bringing us to an end of another year, of another episode. So before we wrap this up here, Keith, any final thoughts, any announcements you want to make before we go to?
I just want to say, make some changes in you. Don't let the calendar just change. And like Skinner said, change is going to happen. Let's love one another a little bit more. Let's be a little bit more patient with one another. Let's not be so quick to judge. Stop getting all of your morality from social media. Spend time together, talking, hanging out. Start a conversation in the waiting room as opposed to everybody sitting there on their phones or in the elevator or whatnot. Go see your friends you've been meaning to go see. Go see your parents who you've been putting off for weeks. Go hug your mom and dad. Let them know you love them. These are all the things that are so important for rounding you out as a person. And as time goes by, you cannot get moments back. So you can't get a refund, can't get a redemption on it. So be a better you in 2024. And then 2023. And then going into 2024, you can look back and say the year was better because you were better.
Very good. Excellent. Yeah, any day could be your New Year resolution day. Any day you choose. So it doesn't have to wait for the first. Do it now. Anything you say, anything you want to try to start to change, do it right now, and work toward being a better you, like you said, Keith. So that's it. So again, other than I thank you. We thank you for watching both this one and Convincing Idiots. Thanks for your support out there, and again, look forward to another great year. Skinner.
Yep, I can't add much more. Change you before you change your calendar. friends come and go, but your family and your friends that are family stay forever. So reach out to them because you only have so many days. So great year, fellows, last year. I'm looking forward and excited for 2023 with you two. Maybe we'll get a Coach Cooper sighting here or there once he retires from volleyball. Who knows? We have no idea what the future holds, but I'm excited for it. So for Brian Fisher, Keith Porter, I'm Michael Skinner. We're the guys from Gen X. Happy New Year to you folks, and we will catch you next week.
Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
Hey, this is Skinner from ItCameFromGenX. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button and like, and we'll see you next time.